Hi everyone. I thought I'd do another one of these. I had a a recording sitting around that I'm pretty sure Basil sent me that has the title Smith.ttyrec, and we haven't really seen any Smiths in 1.2 at all. Um, and there's some indication that 1.2 is going to be upgraded to 1.3 pretty soon in the new year. So before we get there, I thought we'd do like one last sort of different kind of build that we haven't done in a while. Let's just get this going. I don't really know much. I took a few minutes and looked through uh, just maybe the first couple hundred feet of this thing, but I wasn't really paying attention. So when you start a Smith, well, a bunch of stuff just happened there. The beginning's always kind of interesting because it's where some choices are made that are important. So I'm pretty sure he picked Fëanor. I wasn't really watching, but I'm guessing that's what he did. Because they get a smithing affinity, so you get one smithing ability for free, and an extra point or something like that. The build he picked, you can go a couple ways with the Smith. Some people like to go super grace heavy at the expense of all the other stats, which usually means you're doing something gimmicky. Like you're going to really stat boost, or you're going to do a sort of build that supports like a song-based build or something. If you want to combat Smith, which it looks like he's going for, he picked more balanced stats, so only 3 grace, 3 strength, and 4 and everything else. The second thing he just did there is he took enchantment and armor smith. So we've seen the artistry start before, where you take artistry and armor smith, and those are the two kind of ways to start. Some people start with jeweler just to get some good rings at the beginning, but that's a bit weird and doesn't have a lot of utility beyond that. Armor smith and artistry makes you pretty strong up front, whereas enchantment and armor smith lets you build some equipment that gives you a smattering of abilities that are good and are sort of handy in the early game. So it looks like the way he went was that. Enchantment is actually also generally a better ability to take if you're going pure smith, I think, just because it unlocks, it's a prereq for more important stuff. I don't even know if artistry is a prereq for anything. So it's sort of a dead end that way. So he's kind of gunning straight to 100 feet because you're guaranteed a forge at 100 feet. Am I going, is this normal speed or what? Yeah, he just plays really fast. So what I'm really curious to see about this particular playthrough is that Basil, more so than I think most other players I've watched, one thing I've noticed about him that's pretty distinctive is he abuses stairs more than everyone, I think. So he's usually pretty happy to sit and stair scum to the extent that you can without being worried about the stairs crumbling from under you. But I've noticed he often resets levels or just goes to a staircase and bails if he's annoyed at the way the level's laid out. And the problem with that as a smith is that the way that distributions of forges work, I think since at least in 1.2, is that they're pretty flat. So it tries to force a forge every, let's say every couple hundred feet or less, rather than just letting random chance allocate them. So as a smith, more so than other builds, you're rather compelled to explore the entire floor just to know that you haven't missed one, which, as far as I can tell, is pretty opposing to Basil's normal playstyle, which is to dive like super hard to 950 feet and then just scum like crazy. So it's going to be interesting to see this. So he's starting with forge gloves. This is pretty common. You burn a bit of experience, but it gives you a cheaper smithing bonus than just buying the skill and helps you with the next two things you're going to build. So next thing, yeah, this is what I thought. So he's going to make boots of speed, I'm guessing. That's what he did. I didn't really see. But sprinting, the thing about Sil is that the way the abilities work is kind of funny in the sense that a lot of the abilities rely on the amount of skill points you have in the skill to give their effects. So like songs are more effective when you have more song. For example, like critical resistance is more effective if you have more will. But certain abilities just don't give a crap about how much of the skill you have. So evasion, if you have 99 evasion or you have 0 evasion, sprinting is still good. It works exactly the same. So it's a good ability to smith onto a piece of equipment if you're not going to invest heavily in that skill or otherwise. So I think he made a shield of probably deflection, I'm guessing. I didn't really see it because What I'm thinking happened here is that he's done this. Whoa, what are you doing? Okay, so I think what happened there, this happens to me a lot too, where you start a new game and you're used to having dodging and flanking. And so when you see a group of monsters, your instinct is to dive into the middle of them. And then he must have noticed, oh, I'm not actually hitting them. And he realized he doesn't have those things yet, so. Okay, so. Yeah, I'm guessing he must have. We'll see the next time he checks his equipment, but I'm pretty sure he made a shield of deflection. And I'm guessing he probably killed like 30 smiths earlier or something, and so he's just got this on autopilot. So yeah, he's... What is his main weapon? I missed that. It must be a battle axe, because his 2-hit is terrible and his damage is good. Yeah, so sword spider is really not something you want to fight, with these combat. You're never going to hit it with 6 2-hit, and it's going to wreck you if you try to fight it with these defenses. Oh, let's go back. He's got a cloak, goes to the forge. Oh, a great sword, neat, okay. Did he make a shield and then not wield it? Because I don't see anything else here he would have made at that forge. Oh, because he has a greatsword. Duh. Okay. Well, I don't know. Let's see what happens. He may just have decided I don't need this thing yet, but kind of weird. Yeah, he made the shield of deflection and said, screw it, I'm just going to hit things with a big-ass sword. So that's fair. And now he's gone back to his shield and his his one-hand weapon. So here are archers, wow. Orc archers. At their normal out of depth. They're 100 feet out of depth here, but I usually assume I'm going to meet them by 150. 3 to 8 defense, and I mean plus 10 evasion is pretty good, but evasion against arrows doesn't really help. So the way you can tell if somebody's playing a smith usually is that they're pulling experience like this, which is one of the things that makes them so hard to play, because they really don't come into their own until they have a lot of stuff, and that's the difference with smiths in 1.2. Smithing's sort of been rigged so that you're probably not going to create a character that smiths like 5 or 6 really good pieces of stuff. You might be lucky if you get one. So it's sort of like a utility ability, and so pure smiths have a really hard time in 1.2, just because the force distribution means that you don't get to make a lot of stuff when you've totally maxed out your smithing skills because of the flat distribution. But he shot a mole to death with this little shitty bow, which is actually pretty impressive. But I guess it's because he has poison arrows. Usually I wait until I have a longbow to bother. Okay. So I guess he's sick of getting blindsided literally in the dark, so he took keen senses. Yeah, these things really super annoying at this depth, or anywhere, when you don't have will. And this is actually really dangerous. He's pretty hurt. And those hammer horns can really mess up your day. I should... yeah, you don't want to fight that. That's a bummer. Oh, maybe he thinks he can take it. Yeah, you really don't want to. It's not worth it. So, this is exactly why I don't like fighting those things when you're at this depth. Like, if you're first meeting sword spiders, I generally try to avoid them because they kick the shit out of you, and then you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to rest to heal, and then like 50 things show up and ruin your day. So, finesse at this depth, he's kind of taking it in desperation, but it's not super helpful, and he's okay, that worked out really well for him. That could have been death, I think. I don't know. And now he's out. So the other thing is, what he just did there, so like, go upstairs, go downstairs. Like, that as a smith is something you probably don't want to be doing very often. Just because if a forge spawns and you miss it, he may be figuring like, well, even if a forge spawns now, I can't make anything good, so I don't care. But the game, as far as I understand, explicitly keeps count of how many forges you found. And so it kind of behooves you to find all the ones you can find. And this is a lot of work, so this is super annoying. Yeah, Orc Warriors with their new charge, well, their relatively new charge ability is tough, and now they're flanking him from all sides, so why are you going outside? Okay, I probably would have stayed in the hallway. Yeah. So he's at 18 health. Maybe he didn't realize he was this hurt. Okay, good. So he's hiding now. This is a lot of hammer horns. Yeah. So with archers, you can kind of just stand at the door and they won't come through. But if they have a buddy who's not an archer, that'll really mess you up. Because they'll open the door, no problem, and the archers will come out. Not much just going around here. He's just going shopping, kind of. Does he have a helm? I didn't even notice. Yeah, that's a lot of dudes. He's going to try and draw them into the... So with Keen Senses, this is actually very possible to do, yeah, because you get to see when they've come to the end of the hall. It's just weird AI gimmicks that you basically want to play if you know how to play them, because it prevents you from having to deal with how annoying it is that they just hover at the mouth of the corridor. Good. Yeah. That's the other thing I've noticed about Basil. He's pretty happy to optimize his use of projectiles. So this is like he will just shoot and throw things all day long. Okay, so let's see what he's thinking about making now. Usually when you start a smith, you have an idea of like, here are the steps I'm going to take. Like, at this level I can make these things, this next level I can make these things. You might not have like a plan on paper or anything, but you know there are certain values of smithing for which you really want to find forges for. And I'm not sure just adding a couple to smithing will take him to one of those levels. So he may be thinking, what I'm going to make here, he checked all the doors to make sure they were closed. It's also good to look around to see there aren't any stairs in your forge. Like, if there are, you're still going to use it at least. You'll know it's there, though. So he might be contemplating right now, do I take another ability or yeah. So he could make rings. There's probably not much more armor he can make that's useful. There certainly really aren't any weapons he could make that are useful. And he may just bail on this forge. Nope. Either that or, yeah, okay, so this is the thing. He might just end up using, let's see. Like one thing he could try to do is use ID a ton of his stuff to get more experience that way. But he may be trying to look at to see, like, is there anything I can make that's useful right now that is worth making? So he's going to make a Crown of Grace, I think. Which will, I think, at best net him 0 points of Grace right now because he'll be drained. Although he starts with Lembas, so he can restore it. But this is, like, if I had to pick a number one reason why I hate smithing and I won't really ever do it again, it's this. Like, this is not fun. You go to make stuff and these things barrel in because it's noisy. You kill them. You try to make something else, 50 more things show up, especially at the early depths when there's like tons of dudes around. And then again at cat depth, it's the worst. So now he's taking Jeweler. Was he not? Did he make his crown? I didn't notice. No, he couldn't have, otherwise he'd be drained. So he must have changed. Or maybe he ate Lembas and I didn't notice. So I don't know. I'm not going to. I guess the other thing he could have done is made a Crown of Grace plus 0, but I don't think that's what he did. Basil, why do you type so fast? It's the worst. Okay, so that's good. A plus 2 accuracy ring, that's handy to have. Not too shabby. I'm guessing, yeah, he made a plus 2 evasion ring too. So let's actually, I'm going to go back here. No, his Crown of Grace is plus 1, so he must have either... I'm pretty sure that Grace Crown would at least drain you 1 Grace. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it would. So he may have just restored it. And then I'm guessing the accuracy evasion rings were the 2 things he made here. So not bad. I still remember when in the early versions of Sil, it was actually, and I don't think it's even any more difficult to do now, but a pretty common thing to do. Oh, I was hoping that was a Fëanorian lamp thing. a pretty common thing to do early would be to take jeweler, because you can make really good rings, which made it worth it. But then once you made your 2 rings at the first forge, you would often make an amulet of the Blessed Realm +0, which means it doesn't give you any grace. It drains you a bit of grace, but it had a light radius as well. And it was helpful in the early game when people weren't used to taking keen senses yet, I guess. So that worked out pretty well for him. One thing that is kind of more fun about smithing in 1.2 is that mithril is a lot more common, so you can make some cute things with that. Did he just... Yeah, he must have fallen through a false floor. Again, sort of a ruinous thing to happen to Smith. I doubt he would have found a forge like on the very next floor, but nor does he want to be this deep without a staircase up. We actually just ran a Sil competition. It's still running right now for the new year, but one of the things we did was we played a game with disconnected stairs, just to make it a bit harder because it's Christmas time, and in normal Sil, you get a present at Christmas that usually is an artifact, like right off the bat. And it's really hard, just because, you know, especially if you don't have stealth at all, which is pretty normal for most melee builds. You know, you come down the stairs, you have no escape, and like millions of things swarm you. You get used to having the option of going back up the stairs. But... So again, as you go farther in the game too, like the amount of experience you need to pool to make it's safe to sort of be a smith it gets higher and higher, because you need progressively more experience to buy more points of smithing. And just, you know, you'll want to put abilities on things, or you'll want to artifice things, and just the actual act of making stuff can consume up to like 1,000 experience, I think. So it's definitely a very skin of your teeth way to play. Now he's playing, you know, one of the high elves, so if you get used to playing Edain and dwarves, this doesn't really feel that different than that, but it's still tricky. That was a pretty good dance around that orc champion. And actually, because of his accuracy rings, that's really good. Rings of accuracy boost your 2-hit both for archery and for melee, so +7 on a bow for, like, I don't think he's put any points into archery. That's pretty good. I mean, essentially, it's hitting +14. Poor our champions, they're so bad. It's like fighting a single troll. I guess they have a bit more armor or something, I don't know. He's got a lot of stuff. He's carrying just a hauberk around for fun. It's handy to have, I guess, if Easterlian archers or something show up early. It's good to have some heavy armor that, even if you can't attack in it, it'll help you survive the arrows until you get the heck out of dodge. Let's see. He's trying to kill the shadow mold with is even... Oh yeah. Yeah, he's not hurting it. This is where he got it though. Finding a longbow would really be helpful for this. Nice. Although he's not gonna... Interesting. Yeah, so like just randomly wielding amulets is a pretty bad idea. Although I do it all the time. Just because at this level, like if you find a bad one, it's probably going to be a -1 con. And that's pretty annoying. He's finding a lot of good stuff. Or at least a lot of potentially good stuff, who knows. Oh, whoa. I wonder if he knows he's almost dead. He must. Good. That was a staff of imprisonment. Those self-knowledge staves in MPA still are pretty good because for stuff, basically for most items that, if you were to see their effect, there could be no other logical explanation for what they are. You just get to auto-ID them. And so if you're playing the ID game, which Basil definitely is here, they can be pretty helpful until you find stabs of understanding. Mulips, man, they're super annoying. At least they can't, in this version, they can't erase the map, so that's something. I would probably take that male corselet over that hauberk he has. But I guess he just doesn't really care. These things can be pretty nasty if you don't have a way to, if your melee's not high enough to critical a lot. Just because you don't need to get hit too many times before it really hurts. They're like mini giants, I guess. Now, I never realized that the mountain trolls hit to stun. You see here, like, he's making the game pretty hard on himself. Just like pooling 4,500 experience at this point. I think he's pooling more experience than he spent even. He's not taking the Greaves. I don't think he has a single thing of free action, so I probably would have taken those Greaves in case that's what they are, but let's see. He may just figure he's going to make everything he needs, so. Good old classic archer luring trick. I don't think they saw him, which is why they weren't coming out. Oh, those are the worst. Yeah, so the reason why he shimmied out of there is because the alarm trap, you don't want people running in and surrounding you. Nice, it's like he knows where they are or something. Okay, so let's see. So I guess... No, he's just going to go for it. Sometimes what you'll see people do is... Excellent, yeah. They'll try to max out their XP by exploring the rest of the floor just to see what they can find. But the risk with that is if you hit a false floor, you're going to be super pissed. So let's see what he does. Yeah, you generally don't want to expend all your money on smithing experience because, like I said before, a lot of your equipment costs experience to make. So the first one was a crown, or let's see. So this is going to be his first artifact, it looks like. What will he make? So the balance here is, are you going to make something that helps you survive, or are you going to make something that helps you smith even more stuff later? So he's... Whoa. Okay. I thought he might go for... Yeah. I'm not going to say anything until he does it. I thought he might be going for Song of Owlie or whoever that is, just so he doesn't have to buy it. Listen, also a super good idea. Oh, cool. Oh, right, yeah. Actually, this is a really good idea. Let's see if he does it. Lore Master and Listen on our crown would be nice. Song of Freedom kind of weird. Yeah, I guess. Cute. Alright, so I'm trying to figure out what the advantage of that was. The Song of Freedom part. I guess one thing it does help you do is not worry about needing perception to dig. Sorry, you don't need perception to dig. I always forget that it can clear rubble. That's actually really neat. Yeah, Song of Freedom, yeah, I guess. Pretty handy. You can use it to open doors without smashing them down. Especially using it to open chests can be really cute. But given all the other versus that and Listen, I don't know. Listen seems like it would have been more useful. But he knows what he's doing. If there's ever a question of, should I listen to Basil or should I listen to Devo? Definitely should listen to Basil. That's a lot of evasion. He probably wants flanking. Who doesn't want flanking? Yeah, archery's pretty good. That's Bulldog. So I always forget that Bulldog can shoot. And not just like, yeah, he fled. He shoots like really hard. The only thing that makes him tolerable is he doesn't have archery AI. He still charges you like a melee dude. He'll shoot at you until you get close to him. He's more like a giant, like the way they throw rocks. A shadow cloak, nice. I guess the same freedom. Sometimes it takes a while. It needs to. Whoa. Garbage. I hate these things. So this is a cute chick. I like this. Although they're still wrecking him. Yeah. He stood there so that two of those archers would have to punch him. They still actually, their melee's okay. But that way only one could shoot him at a time, and then he tried to shoot it at the one that was shooting at him. However, it didn't work. These things are hard too. He really needs to upgrade that melee, that's the problem. But he just really wants flanking. But no. Yeah. Those things can really ruin your day. Like, usually they're terrible. They're pretty squishy. But if they hit you for like 20 poison, ugh. Yeah. It's just, there's like maybe 3 feelings now that make me just want to never play Sil again. Those things are the first. The archery and uniques, so the Aldor, the Accursed, and who's the other one? And whatever that guy is. Those ones, when I see them, I just want to put the game away and never play it again. And then Ancient Serpents. Those are the 3 now. Those are my big ones. When I see any of those 3 things, I'm just like, I'm never playing this game again. I'm done. Finished. But otherwise, it's pretty fun. Yeah, his evasion is cute. Like plus 20 evasion when he's flanking is amazing, and he's using archery to really carry him a lot here. But he actually, plus 12. If you were an Idane at this floor, you'd probably be around there anyways. But you probably hit a lot harder too, depending on what kind of Idane you are. And by that I mean Hador. Good shot. I don't remember what his will is. I don't think he's bought any, so it's probably atrocious. Which means you don't want to screw with stat drainers right now. Especially, I mean, stat draining is always bad, but as a smith, you already have to deal with stat draining in the sense that when you make stuff, it drains you. So, what? I wish you would look at things. What is that amulet? Yeah. I always forget too that now that trolls have knockback, you just kind of have to pay attention to when you're on chasms because they can knock you into the chasm. Actually, it would be really great if you found a longbow, because he's using his arrows an awful lot. And 1d8. Pretty terrible. One thing I've always wondered is why they don't just get rid of flasks of oil altogether. Just get rid of them, and only let the guy only let you find lanterns. Just because like having to carry around these oil flasks is kind of silly, especially when you haven't found a lamp yet. It's kind of cute, I guess. Let's see if he goes right back down. Yeah, I'm surprised he does that. It seems risky as a smith to do that. Like he's trying to do levels over and over again, I guess, just to like max out his strength at that level, which is like the opposite of Basil's normal playstyle. But not really worth it. And it's gonna be hard for him to damage this many of these things. He's doing okay though. Like the captains, I'm not sure. It always seems like they have more durability than the normal orcs. But I can't remember the stats exactly. Okay, so his melee starting to get up there a bit. He should be able to do something at least. Now these Easterlings, I guess he's got enough now that he can kind of critical once in a while. What up? Did he get a lamp? Wow, that's a lot of oil flasks. That's pretty good. I generally like to keep the, I think he's still carrying torches. Could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. But I generally like to keep the Lesser Jewel in case you get in a situation where you don't have any light casting equipment yet, and you get like an out of depth shadow bat or something. It's helpful to just be able to drop the jewel on the floor. Yeah, I don't think he made anything that creates light. See what I said? This, I think, is probably a Lurking Horror. Oh no, it's a shadow bat already, I guess. It's a 450. Is that the same one or is that another one? Yeah, they have super high evasion. The thing with those bats, like, unlike shadow spiders, if you can see the bat, it's probably going to have a hard time hurting you. Whereas with shadow spiders, if you can see the shadow spider, it can still mess you up because it can blind you. But that's a pretty good battle axe. Worst. Nice though that it has a Haunted Dreams amulet right next door. That's handy. I mean, he's got a ton of shit he could drop. Slowness, poison. I mean, those are literally garbage. It's entrancement. What else is here? See, now if he had a lesser jewel, he wouldn't have to be using the staff. He could just drop the jewel. But another lamp. I guess he figures I have enough light. It's not worth it. Those hatchlings are bad because, you know, they're so crappy. They're easy to kill, but their fire damage, while not great, still destroys your stuff. And you don't want to shoot at them because they, yeah, awesome. What set of gloves did he have that wasn't Gloves of the Forge? And shooting at them, if they breathe on you, they burn up all your arrows, so. Actually, this is something I hadn't thought about either. Is that chasms can lock you out of like big chunks of the level now. And if you're a smith, that's even worse than normal. Good. True Sight is definitely an upgrade from a normal lamp, so might as well drop the old one. Doesn't need Haunted Dreams anymore. Surprised he didn't take that Crown of Command. They're handy to truck around, although his grace is bad, so. Because I think those things give you Song of Mastery, which is, unless you have like a lot of song. Oh, that's a bummer. Wow, he's just restoring it right away. Yeah, arrows to kill worms. Not the best. Oh, poison. Never mind. That's a good greatsword. Wow. He skipped the oil flask. That's amazing. The thing I discovered the other day is that, like any other potion, there we go. You can lose flasks of oil to potion poppers. For some reason, I thought they would be like more inert or something. Yeah, I often do this too, like walk into a room of shadow worms and then they just wreck me. They're pretty hard hitting. Oh no. This is the guy I rage quit to the other day. Luckily, he's near a staircase, although he seems to want to do this. So the reason why he's so annoying is that it's bad enough that he can slow you down by shooting you with a crippling shot. That's kind of cute. The thing that makes him super annoying is that most archers, you can gimmick their AI, so you can trap them against the wall. For some reason, the boss archers were giving a different AI, and so they'll always try to scoot. No matter where they are, they'll try to scoot away from you. And it's just like unbelievably annoying. Because this guy actually has like reasonable armor, so you have to play this stupid game, which is even stupider than the normal stupid game. But you too can have this much fun if you decide to fight this guy. Wow, that was very lucky. Very lucky. Oh yeah, and then he flees too. That's good. And now he's gonna go down the stairs, and that was totally nope. That's the warrior. So I think Aldra's already gone, probably. So yeah, basically, if you see him, just rage quit the level or the game. That would be my advice. There's no point in fighting that guy. And the other one's even worse, the cat, because he's fast. So that game times a million. Other than that, oh yeah, yeah, cat assassins are hard, but I don't know. I feel like by the time you meet them, they're generally tolerable because they're so rare. And unless you're running like a really evasion high build, at that point, I don't know. It's hard to explain. They just don't make me rage quit as much. Maybe it's because they're ninjas. It's hard to be angry at ninjas. So again, you'll notice that like he just basically hasn't really been buying that many skills this game. He's pulling experience again for his next forge. Kind of at the bare minimum level of melee that he needs to be able to hit stuff. And keeping wargs in a room like this, the zone of control helps a lot to whittle them down. Generally, though, they're pretty noisy when they're fighting because they keep howling. And wow, this level in need of serious repair. What the heck? Oh, this is one of those tricksy. I haven't actually seen one of these yet in my own games, but I think that one seems pretty normal. There are a couple of special vaults like that, or special rooms where you need leaping, first of all, to get any of the stuff, which you would still now. But there are a couple of them where you can only get one of the four, because you need to keep hopping, and the second you stop, you won't be able to hop to the next one, so you get to pick one of four, and then you have to throw yourself down the cliff to get out. Although, apparently, I learned this recently. If you have Song of Freedom at like a super high level, like at really high values of song, you can actually seal up the ground, which is pretty epic imagery, I guess. These things, yeah, shadows do not screw around because they ignore armor. He doesn't have much armor to ignore at this point, but they have pretty good accuracy too. And Silroko in 1.2 gained stun. So it's like fighting an invisible troll, which is really tricksy. I think stabs in general have kind of been boosted in terms of their frequency. I feel like I find stabs of warding like every game now. And they're actually really handy if you remember that you have them, which I often don't. But like most monsters before, I don't know, like I think all the way to the depths. I think Druglin's the first one who can really just like smash through them. But yeah. Those runes from the Staff of Warding, like most monsters have a really tough time. And it screws with their pathfinding too. It's like sealing off the level basically if they're coming after you, I think. They seem to behave the same way they would behave if you put down a boulder or something. So you can really just completely route them if you're In a bind. That was... Oh no, he has super high evasion. Never mind. That's not super dangerous. Yeah, so it's definitely worth taking those things along. And that's a fair amount of experience to be pulling. Like, if you look at the amount of points of stuff he's bought at this stage in the game, it's very, very minimal. Like, I think his highest skill is 8 points invested. And one of those is smithing, so... Yeah, I think you already did this. Sometimes I forget too, but... It's really not worth fighting those things ever if you don't have to. And the small ones are pretty dumb, and they have a hard time... I don't know if they can even break open doors. So they're actually pretty reasonable to deal with. I just wrote a forum post the other day complaining about the ancient ones. I don't know what he's worried about. He has him a talk like he could kill it, yeah. I guess he's worried that his stuff's gonna get popped. Yeah. No, they're not that bad. Like, the little ones are okay. If you get a crit... The thing is, their HP is terrible, so... If you get a critical off or something, which you can do with reasonable values of melee, you can kill them. Although, you kind of don't want to get breathed on at point-blank range, even by little ones, if you don't have a resist. Because it hurts. I noticed he saw Shadow Spider, too. And he wisely decided not to fight it. I guess he ditched a warding staff. Or maybe his staff of light. Yeah, that makes more sense. He actually started seeing werewolves at a reasonable depth this game. Usually I meet them at, like, some stupidly shallow depth, but I think the first one he saw was a 550, which I think only 50 feet out of depth, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, definitely something you want to shoot at rather than fight. If you come to think of it, Shadows... Uh-oh. I wonder if he's noticed. Yeah, he must have. I think he's going to do it. This is pretty gutsy. Like, I can't really think of a time where this guy dropped something that was worth fighting him for. The other one, which I almost never meet, but... yeah, you also don't want to fight him near a staircase unless you're on it, because... Yeah, when he runs, he'll flee up it. Ah, yeah, he has clarity, good. The trap worked against Gillum, too, that's pretty good. I wonder if that's actually a pretty neat tactic. Like, if you have a high will character, it'd be kind of neat to drag people through a bunch of confusion traps, because it works against the monsters, too. Might be a possible use for those stabs of entrapment. Yeah. I always think, when you get to this point, this kind of high evasion at this depth, I see the giant uniques, I'm like, okay, it's fine. But I think Gillum is +9. Oh, good. Yeah, so Revelation stabs are super good for Smiths because they reveal forges. So now he doesn't need to worry so much about exploring the whole level, which will save him some time. The question is, will he want to use them shallow or will he want to use them deep? Right now, I would just use them because he's got 8,000 experience and he probably knows what he wants to make next. Is that a ring? See there, a flask of oil popped. And those things are relatively tough at this, like if you meet them at a depth, which he certainly did, because why would you ever meet a monster at depth in Sil? Yeah, I think he's thinking about whether he should flee or not. I don't know. I think he could probably do it. It's just that Ring Roku could legitimately kill him from this health, I think. And they have like a reasonable amount of HP. They're kind of weird. Like I don't know. They're like midway between a Sil Rocco and a what's the other one? The Uro Rocco. Like they have okay health. I think they're reasonably robust, but they hit like I don't know. I don't want to say a truck. They hit like a minivan. It's the Uro Rocco that hits like a truck. Yeah. So let's see. So oh, that's true. He has sprinting. That's pretty cute. So you can just if you have the patience for it, just kind of kite around and randomly lob arrows at them. But those poison arrows are very, very, very helpful because they against like pretty much all monsters except um, you know spiders and green serpents. Actually, even against most spiders, you they're like a branded weapon, so you get an extra damage dice off them. And I mean, with the short bow, it's probably super light. I don't know. So he will probably get one crit at least if he's lucky, and that's like basically throwing a greatsword at them. So I was going to say a thing and I forget. Oh, the one thing I was going to say is I don't know I haven't really been paying attention to what his light situation is. He's got keen senses, which is basically like +1 light when it comes to darkness casting monsters, and then he's got a lamp. But I don't think he has anything else, and that is like sort of the bare minimum light that you can survive with. If you get caught in a dark alleyway against a shadow spider, like you ain't hitting that thing before it blinds you. Although the good thing is, I think the True Sight lamp helps you resist blindness. That's a lurking horror, I think. Or creeping horror, maybe. Nope. A bat. Definitely a bat. Maybe not. That's bad. I mean, all these dark things always bite you, which is annoying because you can't really tell. The reason why I knew it wasn't a shadow spider is because it wasn't talking about him having his vision quickly clear. Lurking horrors, I think, they give you messages for you saving against their paralysis, and then the creeping horrors trash your stuff. So it's pretty obvious when you're getting hit by those. Uh, One thing I can't understand what he keeps doing is he's done this a few times now. I guess he just doesn't pay attention. But he walks backwards out of the room when the spider is kicking his ass instead of walking diagonally out so that they can't see you anymore. Because as soon as you're out of line of sight, they won't follow you anymore. Is that a shadow or an oath wraith? Shadow. Yeah, okay. Bright orange poison potion. Not sure if I had to pick a color for poison. Is that Othrod? It sure is. So comfortable in his masculinity with his pink glyph. That's. Did he just? Oh no, he's there. I was gonna say. Sometimes I just assume that they've seen me, and then like I back off to get a good position, and then they just go down the stairs because they're on an errand that did not involve me. That was a pretty good sequence of hits considering his melee is nothing like special. I think Othrod has like, yeah, wow, good stuff. Oh, that's a good find for a smith too, I think, because I think that's +2 grace. Yeah, yeah, totally, amazing. Oh, and he doesn't even have anything around it. Wow, that couldn't really have gone better. So now he basically has like the grace of like a dedicated smith, but with stats for combat across the board. Did he just ditch his other grace thing? Probably. I guess he can just always wear his. I don't know what he's doing. He's got too much stuff now. It's driving me crazy. Okay, I think we're gonna take a break when he takes his next set of stairs. Because I think we've been going for a while. Well, he's got 10,000 experience too. Wow. And it doesn't really look like he's had a lot of hard times fighting these guys, and I can never tell. Actually, I might take that back. Yeah, this is nasty. I think webs are kind of like pits in the sense that when you're in one, it's like awful. Yeah, you're not going to out heal this thing. You got to get the heck out of here. That was pretty lucky. But yeah, see, it doesn't take long for you to just have your day completely ruined by shadow spiders specifically, but... What is this thing? Oh yeah, his will is terrible, so stabs are not going to work very well for him. Which actually, I don't know how hard warding stabs are to use. That would be one reason to kind of undervalue them, because if you're in a situation where you want to use one, you probably don't want to be failing to use one. I guess if you see something coming from, 8 or 9 squares away, you can say, alright, I'm going to give this 3 shots, and then, oh, wow. How could this have gone better? Okay, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to pause here. That way we'll be excited about the next episode to see what he's going to make. With this, 10k XP he's sitting on. And 6 grace, probably more, I don't know. I haven't really been paying attention to all the stuff he has. So far so good. You've got the kind of feel for what the strategy is as a smith. Pool a ton of experience. Hope to God that you find forges that are a reasonable number of uses, and basically suck at everything until you can make good stuff. He went to Artifice pretty quick. I think he only met 2 forges where he made, things with every single use before taking Artifice and then making his ID crown. So the question is, at the next forge, is he going to make an artifact that helps him smith better stuff, or is he going to make an artifact that helps him survive? I'm guessing he's going to make an artifact to help him smith better stuff, but we'll see. The good thing is he has 1 extra use that he can make just some random one-off item with. Who knows what it'll be. The only thing that could have gone better for him is if he'd found some mithril at this point. He could use that 1 extra use to make a Funerarian lamp. But he's also using his lamp for True Sight too, so I don't know, kind of a mixed bag. But that's good for now. We're going to call it here, and then we'll see you in the next episode to see what Basil manages to cobble together with the stuff. Thanks for watching.